You know, Democrats and their treatment of children have never ceased to puzzle and absolutely amaze me. On the one hand, they advocate aborting them, killing them. Then there are times that they hide behind them as a political shield, using them so that they can erode more of our freedom and raise our taxes needlessly because, after all, we should do it for the children. And then at times, they're abusing them on their own pedophile islands, or raping them on casting couches in Hollywood, or even having their way with them in the back of special rooms in pizza establishments. And then they use them to further absolute libloon leftist progressive agendas that they know no reasonable adult would absolutely ever believe. But after all, it's for the children. How many of you were raised by the philosophy it is better for children to be seen and not heard? In fact, when I was a kid, other than like mom and dad and your teachers and your coaches, you tried to have as little interaction with adults as possible. You hung out with your friends and you did stuff that you and your friends like to do. And when you had to get together with your parents and their friends, you know, the adults, it was kind of, well, boring. But not anymore. Today, why, kids are champion crusaders, even though they're not fully developed, hence the identity of children, pre-adult, pre-adolescent, and even junior high, senior high age kids, not yet fully adults, not completely having a life experience to back up their zeal and their passion about things, not having had a full education and a full appreciation and understanding of how things work, i.e. the identification of kids. Well, this past week, they took a national, actually I should say international, school skip day because they're trying to save the planet.
We are here because our parents trashed the planet, and it's up to our generation to save it.
Call us Generation Z, the last letter of the alphabet, because we are going to be the last generation to survive.
We do not have time to be polite. This is a revolution.
It doesn't matter how much we're taxed if we don't have an earth to live on.
We need to do more instead of having a corrupt president who won't acknowledge that the earth is literally dying.
We need to listen to our children because they totally get it. Because every day of inaction drives more action from us!
You know, these kids definitely give credence to the argument of why drugs like Ritalin are needed to calm angry, depressed children down. This is nothing but the ranting of ill-informed, ignorant young people somehow being given credence. And you have to ask yourself, who's behind this? Is it George Soros? Is this another one of his funded ideas where he's using the ill education, I should say the secular, progressive, public school education of these young little minions who have their heads filled with mush and hogwash, using them now to further the globalist agenda, more taxes, more erosion of our freedom, embracing less is more. After all, we have to save the planet. It isn't right that we have our own houses. Why, we should live in a house with 25 other people that we don't even know and live on bunk beds and eat recycled food. And it's wrong for us to be this greedy and have stuff. Okay, is anybody actually educating these children? See, because when I see what I just saw, it is so obvious this is what happens when libloons breed and raise children. It's this kind of absolute nonsense. I guess the only upswing is liberals are the one who strongly advocate for not only abortion, but now they're advocating not reproducing, not procreating, because after all, the planet is dying and we can't breed more children and bring them onto a dying planet. So the great news is when this young generation passes, they're it. They're it. That's it. Done. Over. After all, this is what do you call himself? Generation Z. We're at the end of the alphabet because we are the last group that's ever going to exist. Right. And for that one libloon to say, we need to listen to the children because they get it. They get it. Yeah, they get it all right. And sadly, they got it from deranged people like you. All right, let's talk for just a minute on a quasi-serious level here about a completely canard, phony, fictitious crisis of climate change. Oh my, it's hotter today than it was 200 years ago. Okay, so what are we going to do? Decrease the planet's population by 95%? What is the solution? Oh, we're going to take it upon ourselves to totally alter and change our way of life. No more fossil fuels being pumped out of the ground, man. No more. We want renewable energy. Is anybody actually educating these kids on how anything works? Or are we just euphoric over the fact, wow, the kids get it?
Jamie, what's it like out there now where you are?
Well, it's electric, actually, led by young people filling the streets, trying to raise awareness for climate change and get the attention of the adults in power. Tens of thousands marching down Broadway. On the ground, energy and conviction.
Our generation has been told time and time again that our lives do not matter and we have no historical purpose. We are out here today proving that wrong.
School kids led the charge, walking out of class, demanding world leaders take action to prevent further global warming and climate change.
We are witnessing the destruction of our planet. I feel powerful knowing that I am on the right side of history.
13-year-old New Yorker Marisol Rivera addressed the masses at the start of the march.
We're going to be the ones who are getting affected because we're going to inherit this world.
New York City climate strikers demanding fossil fuels stay in the ground, demanding a transition to renewable energy and accountability for polluters. Also aiming pressure at the UN ahead of next week's Climate Action Summit.
I want the UN to hear that as much as I respect what they're doing, I feel like they're not doing enough. I feel like none of us are really doing enough in terms of encouraging and pushing forward direct legislation that's going to help protect our environment.
Oh, it's just electric out here. This is a reporter giving you an objective viewpoint of an event that's being manufactured. It's electric. I'm learning so much from the kids. Well, maybe we need a 24-hour kids news channel. Oops, wait. That'll probably be coming. I shouldn't have said anything. There I go again. All right. Is there actually an adult educating these children on any level whatsoever, correcting their erroneous, fictitious information? Let's look at it this way. Let's say America buys into all of this. We stop pumping fossil fuel. We stop burning fossil fuel in our homes. We stop empowering our vehicles, jets, trains. We go back to a very primitive lifestyle, a embrace the earth lifestyle. We eat nothing but tree bark, weeds, and granola, and we just become in one with Mother Nature. What about the rest of the planet? What about China, who is the largest polluter on the planet? Not America, it's China. And right behind China is not America, it's India. What about these other nations? Oh, well, if we do the right thing, they will just First of all, our giving up our way of lifestyle, that's not the right thing. What that is caving in to a globalist agenda. First of all, it's on this social level of, it's not fair, we have more than others, it's not equal. We've accomplished more than others. We've achieved more than others. Also, it makes us then subservient to the other industrialized nations of the world who have no intention of going along with this hogwash. And then this whole idea of a national skip school day, because we're going to go save the planet. Can I tell you what I would have done at 16, 17? Yeah, I wouldn't have gone to school that day either. And I sure as heck wouldn't have gone to some rally about embracing dirt. That wouldn't have been on the agenda either. Me and my friends, we'd have gone to the mall in our fossil fuel burning cars, and we would have hung out and done frivolous, nonsensical things like play video games all day until the theater opened and gone to see an afternoon matinee like the new Rambo movie, and we would have guzzled soft drinks and eaten things with trans fat flavoring on them. That's what we would have done. But I know, this new generation, they're so much smarter. They get it. That's why they're demanding the UN enact legislation. Has anybody told this kid that the UN does not actually have any legislative authority over the United States or any nation for that matter? But this is how we indoctrinate kids into a globalist, one world mentality. Do you understand the real agenda that's being driven here? Do you get what this is really about? And then the libloons, who are constantly seeking someone they can exploit for their own purposeful gain and the loss of our freedom. They turn to a 16-year-old girl from Sweden who just happens to have Asperger's, and they make her the poster child, the new face of the Green New Deal. Because after all, everybody's being turned off by Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. I think there could be a grudge match between the two of these eventually. But enter Greta. Greta from Sweden, who got to address the United Nations.
I shouldn't be up here. I should be back in school on the other side of the ocean. Yet you all come to us young people for hope. How dare you? You have stolen my dreams and my childhood with your empty words, and yet I'm one of the lucky ones. People are suffering, people are dying, entire ecosystems are collapsing. We are in the beginning of a mass extinction, and all you can talk about is money and fairy tales of eternal economic growth. How dare you?
Well, Greta, you are right about a couple of things. You're right, number one, you have no business being there. Why are you being given the international ear? Why are you being listened to? You're also right, you should be back in school. Well, maybe, if this is what you learned in the Swedish school system, your parents would be better off putting you in a private school or homeschooling you. And if those two options are not available to you in Sweden, then it would be far better for you to stay home and be illiterate than to receive this spoon-fed liberal propaganda agenda being masqueraded and passed off as education. We've crushed your dreams. We haven't done enough. It's obvious that you're dedicated to your cause, and for that, I applaud you. You're obviously a very sincere young lady, but you are being exploited by some very evil people who are hell-bent on changing our way of life, changing and eroding our progress that we have made, the industry, the incredible ability that we have had through things like fossil fuel and machinery and science, where we have eradicated diseases, where we have increased and made some of the most giant quantum leaps forward when it comes to things like mass communication and media, etc., etc., etc. I mean, if we go to all electric cars that run on batteries, you do realize that the materials that make up batteries have to come from mines. And so we have to go digging, and we're going to need the equipment to be able to do that. It's powered by fossil fuel. Do you fully grasp or understand what you're saying when you say, who cares what the taxes are if we don't have a planet to live on because we're dying? No, you're not. You've been lied to. And sadly, I feel bad for you, because with a diagnosis like Asperger's, you need to be protected. You need to be given therapy and counseling, not pimped out and exploited for the latest libloon cause fueled and financed by George Soros and those who are hell-bent on really destroying the planet, which means destroying American and human individuality and rights and freedoms. That you become part of the mind-numb masses that are controlled by the oligarch, the deep state, and the ruling elite. That's why I want to start an anti-climate change rally. Everybody that comes, you have to agree to bring an aerosol can, maybe two, because at a designated time during the rally, we're all going to release them simultaneously. But something has to be done to push back against this libloon idiocy. Why do I have the feeling that a group of kids who maybe come from a conservative home or background or private education or, heaven forbid, Christian school or parochial school, if they wanted to stand up and have a voice on a subject like the science and global warming is a bunch of crackpot science, why do I have a feeling they would be eviscerated by the media? The same media that outed and doxed the kids from Covington High School, claiming they were picking on an Indian when it was the exact opposite. Why do I feel that the media would not be receptive to a group of young people with a different viewpoint on this subject matter? See, it's not that these kids are this brilliant. It's that they really are this ignorant, and they're being used as puppets. And a few of them on here, it's very obvious, they need Ritalin. They need to calm down. Well, that's it for this rant. Hey, thanks so much for watching. Give us a thumbs up and a big like on this video. Feel free to share this to any social media platform that you like to help us get the word out, and I always appreciate it when you do that. If you're a subscriber, thank you. If you're a new subscriber, thank you. If you're not a subscriber, you need to get in where all the fun's happening. So go ahead, subscribe, and smack the bell for my next rant.